everyone, Joellen here, and welcome to Washed in Watercolor. For today's demonstration, I thought it would be so much fun to paint these yummy donuts. Drawing this out is pretty easy. The donuts are just two cylindrical shapes, and then where the hole in the middle is, it's an inverted cylindrical shape. How easy is that? Once I draw out the one on the right, I just use my pencil to measure an equal distance to the one on the left, and then just do the same thing. When I'm happy with the form and how it's sitting on my page, I'll just clean it up, and then I'll start to add on the icing. The brushes I'll be using today include my Princeton Script, my Rosemary Series 402, a Princeton 1/4 inch flat brush, and a Princeton quill. The colors I'm using today include Winsor Orange red shade, Quinacridone magenta, Winsor violet, Winsor blue green shade, sap green, and burnt sienna. Once my drawing is complete, I'll use my PBO drawing gum to mask out areas of my painting. I'll apply the masking with my Princeton Script brush. I want to frequently treat my brush with a soapy solution of mostly water, a little bit of ammonia, and a little bit of dish soap. This helps to protect the hair so the drawing gum won't stick to the hairs of the brush and ruin it. I'm applying the drawing gum to the top edges of the donuts and to all the areas where the sprinkles or jimmies are. It's a tedious task, but will be well worth it in the end. Once the drawing gum is completely dry, I'll begin my background and start by wetting the paper with clean water. I thought it'd be fun to change up the color of the background. So here I'm using some Winsor blue green shade along with some sap green, and I'll add touches of Winsor violet or purple, and I'll just work between all of these colors until they kind of blend nicely together in an interesting way. Cast shadows are often overlooked, but they're so important to a work. And here I'll use the same colors and a little bit of a dry brush. You can see I have wiped my paint off on a paper towel, and I'll just add some darker cast shadows in to really give the wonderful effect of these donuts sitting on a surface. I tilt my paper in different directions to help spread the paint evenly, and then I use my brush to wipe up any excess paint that has collected on the sides. While everything is still wet, I'll darken the cast shadow with a drier brush. At this point, I dry my background. I use my flat brush to soften any unwanted hard edges. I'll begin to paint the donut by using burnt sienna along with touches of Winsor Orange red shade and a little bit of quinacridone magenta. Here I'm working wet paint onto a dry surface. To get the shadow edge of the donut, I'll pick up some of my background color and mix it into my burnt sienna mixture. The frosting will cast little shadows, so I don't want to forget those. Using a damp brush, I'll lift up some lighter areas and then I'll sprinkle the donut with just a little bit of kosher salt to get that interesting doughy texture. As the donut dries, you can see the effect of the salt, and I'll now move my attention to the other donut and do the exact same thing. Here goes the salt. When the painting is completely dry, I will brush and scrape off the salt. I want to be sure not to leave any bits behind. To brighten up the donut, I'll add one more pass of color on top of what I've already painted. I may lose just a little bit of the salt effect, but it will still be there in a very subtle way, and I'm okay with that. When my painting is completely dry, I'll use my rubber cement pickup to lift off just the upper edges of the donuts. If you don't have a rubber cement pickup, you can use your finger and just rub it off. It's now time to paint the frosting of the donut on the right. So I'll pick up a little bit of Winsor Blue along with some of my Winsor Violet and a touch of burnt sienna. And I'll start by painting the inner hole of the donut. I also add touches of quinacridone magenta. It's so much fun seeing this donut come to life. Picking up quinacridone magenta along with some Winsor violet, I'll now start to paint the donut on the left. I add some burnt sienna to my Winsor violet mixture to get a paint color or value that is darker so I can paint the hole and the cast shadow of the donut. Every sprinkle or jimmy is going to have a little cast shadow, something very subtle. So I'll mix up some colors and begin to put those in. I'm picking away at some of the little details. I'm lightening some areas and then I'll darken other areas until everything looks just right. Once I'm happy with the values and shapes of the frosting, I'll dry the whole area. I then remove the remaining drawing gum. I start with the donut on the left-hand side and I just lightly tint some of the jimmies that are in the shadow area. Okay, now it's time for the fun part, and I'll start by adding color to the jimmies on the right hand side. I just love this stage when a painting really starts to come together. To really give this a wonderful presence, I'll just darken my cast shadow again using some Winsor Violet, some Winsor Blue Green shade, and a little bit of my sap green. I hope you enjoyed watching my painting unfold, maybe painted along and learned something new. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.